Children, come, let me tell you a story. Yes, Aunt Isabel. So sit down and listen carefully, because I'm going to ask you some questions later. All right, Auntie Isabel, we are ready. It was a weekend evening. I had finished work at around 4:30 p.m. I rushed home to take a shower and get ready for the evening outing with my girlfriends. All made up, dressed up in my best dress, I put on my hair and heels and headed out at 9 p.m. Excuse me for my bad manners. My name is Isabel. I am 29 years old, and I am an executive secretary in a local private company. Before we continue with the story, do not forget to click on the notification button in order to get notified at every new video posted. God bless you. And if you've been touched by the story, do not forget to click on our PayPal link to help us touch more souls. Thank you. Once in my car, I called my girlfriends to find out where the booking was made so I could find them. And they let me know that they were at the Blue Diamond nightclub. So I set my GPS in the direction of that nightclub. Because I had never been there, apparently it was a new one. It was in the middle of the trip that I realized that since I had come back from work, I didn't have water to drink. At the same time, I'm going to a nightclub, so I was going to order for a bottle of water in addition to the drinks that were going to be taken. So I didn't worry more about that. I finally arrived at the nightclub and met my girlfriends, with whom we were so excited that we started screaming. It had been a month since we didn't see each other. There was so much to talk about and hear that I had forgotten my thirst. Immediately, we got into the VIP area. It was well deserved. Our reunion was worth celebrating it as should. So we ordered 3 bottles of champagne, 2 bottles of whiskey, and diluters, which were soft drinks. Needless to say that the bottles arrived in great attention with lights and party music. That's how the nightclub celebrates the biggest customers. Apparently, it was also the way to encourage other customers to spend more in order to have the same treatment. However, we started dancing and drinking. The alcohol stuck afloat, putting us to wiggle our hips on the dance floor. We partied late into the night, not forgetting to tell each other all the gossips that we missed. After feasting, as it should, I remembered coming home at around 5 a.m., drunk as a bee. Once home, I collapsed in bed. Lying in my bed, my phone started ringing. I woke up startled and barely opening my eyes. I felt the ceiling had collapsed on my forehead. I had a severe migraine. I picked up my phone without looking who it was. On the other end, it was my friend Naomi, calling me to remind me that they were going for a brunch in the afternoon. I had completely forgotten about this commitment. She asked me to come 3 weeks before, and I had accepted to participate in her brunch. Moreover, it was to take place in a city close to mine, therefore about 40 kilometers away from home. After hanging up, while confirming my presence, I looked at the time and it was 1:30 p.m. Brunch was supposed to be at 3 p.m. I abruptly got up from bed, realizing that I was already late. I quickly took a shower. I wore the first garment that came to my hand, and for my aspirin, I swallowed it with a can of Coca-Cola that was in my fridge. I still hadn't drunk any water, but I told myself that drinking a sugary drink, it will help me have a little more energy to recover from the day before. I threw myself in the car, in the direction of the brunch. In the car, I had the feeling of dryness that bothered me. I thought it was due to fatigue, so I didn't bother myself more than that, and continued driving to the place where I was expected. Once I arrived at the entrance of the city, I stopped at a convenience store. I wasn't going to drive empty-handed, so I took a case of red wine, and since I had this feeling of dryness, I bought myself a can of Red Bull and a tuna sandwich, hoping that it would perk me up. At the brunch place, I was the last person expected. Once there, the festivities began. We were between colleagues, so jokes were flying everywhere. When it was time to serve us a drink, I wanted to pick up a bottle of water when I got stopped by my colleague Ives. He spoke to me in these words. "You are going to play the wise girl and drink water at the brunch? But I'm thirsty. I'm not going to be dehydrated to please you," I replied laughingly. "Isabel, wiser than the Mona Lisa painting, you're not going to get away with it. Then he raised his voice and addressed the rest of the table, telling them that I was about to take water instead of wine. The rest of the colleagues cheered, insisting that I have a glass of wine. Anyway, I gave in and had a glass of Merlot before going back to my seat. It had already been almost 24 hours since I had drunk a single drop of water, and I was stuffing myself with other drinks willy-nilly. Anyway, I was not in a bad company. So I consoled myself by saying that I was going to hydrate myself later. So we continued to eat and drink while waiting to leave the brunch venue for our original city. Since some of my colleagues had taken the bus to get around, on the way back, they preferred to get into my car so that we could go back together. I found no inconvenience there, and we made our way together. 10 kilometers away from the city, I started feeling dizzy. I had trouble keeping my concentration behind the wheel. I told my colleagues about it, and one of them took the wheel from me while I went to the back with the others. We stopped at the convenience store where I had taken the case of wine on my way to the brunch. I asked for a bottle of water. My colleagues insisted that what I needed was a glass of orange juice or some drink containing vitamin C to give me energy since I was feeling bad. I did not insist much. I adhered to their idea. Back in the car, they handed me freshly squeezed pineapple juice, which I gulped down. At that moment, I felt hydrated. I must even say that I was satisfied despite the fact that it was not water. I thanked them and we got back on the road. They stopped at the bus station that was going to take them to their different houses, and I got back behind the wheel and headed home. Exhausted, I didn't bother to change. I headed straight to my room where I collapsed in bed, eager to close my eyes and rest. The next morning was a Sunday. I had promised to my nephews to take them to the swimming pool. Due to fatigue from the past 2 days, I woke up late once again. I didn't have time to take a proper breakfast, so I opened my fridge and got a banana, forgetting to take a bottle of water since I hadn't taken proper hydration. I rushed to my sister's house where I picked up my nephews and took them to the swimming pool. That day was a beautiful one. It was so sunny. We got into the water and started swimming. I continued to be a little thirsty, but of course I couldn't drink the water from the swimming pool since it was not drinkable. Once lying on the deck chair by the pool, I called for the waiter and asked him to bring me a Red Bull, as once again I felt dizzy and tired. He brought it to me with a straw. I sipped my drink while watching my nephews having fun in the water. Sometime later, I wanted to take the last dip before bringing them home. So I took the dip and all of a sudden everything went black around me. I woke up in the emergency room at the hospital with a glucose drip strapped around my arm. My sister and my nephews were sitting close to me in the room. When I spoke to my sister asking where I was, she told me that I was in the emergency room, but I had to stay calm. She then called the doctor who came to examine me. During our interview, he made me understand that I was in the emergency room because I lost consciousness due to dehydration. He told me that my body lacked fluids. Then he asked me what I had been drinking for the past few days. I made it clear to him that I had taken a lot of alcoholic and fruity drinks. He told me that it was not enough and that the body, apart from the drinks, needed water to survive. That nothing could replace the precious aspect of water in the life of a human being, and to maintain a healthy lifestyle, to continue drinking water on a regular basis. In conclusion, he made me realize that if I didn't drink the right amount of water, I could die because of dehydration. He also told me that dehydration destroys the quality of blood, prevents brain from functioning, and also damages the kidneys. So children, today, I told you this little story about my old life to make you understand something very important. The Word of God is as water for man. Just like I was looking for hydration in other beverages, many human beings are looking for the truth in the wrong places. Exactly like the night where instead of water I drank alcohol, some people go to consult witch doctors in search of truth. Just like when I drank Red Bull to hydrate myself, other people find solace in the distraction of the earth. In the same way that my co-workers convinced me to drink wine instead of water, other people get distracted by their surroundings in the search of truth, and they end up doing things they don't need. Just like I drank pineapple juice instead of water when I came back from the brunch, there are some people who drink water but of poor quality. Like the water from the swimming pool, Auntie? Yes, like that one, Mario. Bravo, you understand the story indeed. Like the water from the swimming pool, which is undrinkable. It is ingested by people who don't know how to discern between the word of God and the word of a liar. Kids, don't be like me who try to hydrate myself in the wrong places, because Jesus is the only source of true water.